I'm trying to think. I think you're getting lost in what this segment is, and the fact that if you just clicked on this episode, it means that you're interested in backpacking. You came to the right place.
We like to call ourselves your travel advisor girlfriends because we're here for you. We want to help you book the best backpacking travel trip of your life. And this is just the beginning for you. This is Backpacking 101, the ultimate guide, the basics, whatever you want to call it. Hey, welcome back to the Guess Where I Am podcast.
And who I'm with.
I'm Koke.
I'm Louise.
And we are with each other.
We're back for what could be our most important episode yet.
Mm-hmm. The ultimate guide for backpacking.
The 101 survival guide.
Mm-hmm. What is it? GWIA's Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide?
Yeah. GWIA's survival guide.
Backpacking.
Wait.
It's declassified.
Okay, so
School survival.
So what? GWIA declassified backpacking survival guide?
Yeah.
I had to close my eyes and picture that little composition notebook or something like that.
GWIA's declassified backpacking survival guide.
Exactly. Perfect. It really just rolls right off the tongue.
It does.
Right. We wanted to keep this short and snappy to not overwhelm, but obviously, as we get through all of the topics on Backpacking 101, our whole podcast is just made for inspiring and motivating. So we go into depth about all of the things that we're going to talk about throughout the entirety of our podcast. We'll mention specifics, but I highly recommend starting from season 1 and checking us out from the beginning to now.
Yes. Yeah, as we were typing out the layout of this episode, we're like, oh, we covered that. But we wanted this to be in one episode where you can just get the quick information, everything, the bare minimum basics that you need to know.
Exactly.
To start backpacking. We want to help you guys make that first leap if you haven't already.
Yeah.
But if you're already a seasoned backpacker, we're still happy you're here. I'm sure there's still some you can learn. I mean, we're still learning every day as we travel.
Every time I think I know it all. It turns out I don't.
Yep. Yeah. This episode, most of the information is going to be based off of the Australian East Coast, as that is where we started. That is where the idea for this podcast came to be. And in our opinion, it's probably the best place to go to start backpacking for the first time, especially as a solo backpacker and as a woman.
It's where we started, and I think a piece of us will always remain at this point, honestly. Yeah. I hate to be that way. I don't know if that sounds like chuggy, but oh my god, it just seems like I can't escape the memory lane that is backpacking Australia.
Yeah. It was that good. That's how you know. It was that good. We still talk about it years later. It's our whole personality trait. It's the whole podcast's personality trait.
It is. It really is. We've been elsewhere, like Europe, briefly, some places in Asia and Africa, but Australia holds a special place in our hearts.
Yes, it does.
Should we get started then?
Let's get into it.
Okay.
If you've already clicked on the episode, you've done most of the hard work, you probably already want to travel, or you're just a lovely GWIA listener and you're a big fan of us. To start this episode, we wanted to help answer the biggest question of why backpack, why travel? Besides the fact it's life-changing, it's amazing, all of these things, we're here for... See, like, I like know where I'm going, and then my mind just is like, no, I'm going the other way.
I'm trying to think. I think you're getting lost in what this segment is, and the fact that if you just clicked on this episode, it means that you're interested in backpacking. You came to the right place. And then we'll get into what this segment is.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
If you've clicked on this episode and have gotten through our intro, you've done the hard work. You're interested in travel. You just need that final push, and we're here for you. Pretty much all of our episodes in the GWIA podcast have that motivation for you, but this, like we said, is the ultimate guide to backpacking.
Which brings us perfectly into the first segment here, which is why you should backpack. So just almost to over repeat, but if you clicked on this episode, I'm sure you already figured out your personal why, because you seemed intrigued and you want to know everything you might need to because you're a fellow planner and preparer like us. But for Koke and I, here is our why, just in case you are a little bit in a gray area about making that final step and booking that flight and or excursion wherever you so choose to go. Koke, you start.
For me, my original why was because I thought Australia was this faraway land that I would never be able to see in person. The opportunity then presented itself where I had a month-long break in college, and that break aligned with an Australian summer. Who doesn't want to go have an Australian summer? I don't know, but I definitely did, so I booked my flights. When I was there, I fell in love with it so much that I extended my trip, and then I moved back 7 months later. And now I have incredible lore to tell all my grandkids and future friends and family and everybody, and it's my whole personality trait. Like I said, I love backpacking. I've caught that travel bug, and I'll probably never stop.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything that you said, except my why's, I guess, a little bit different in the fact that, I spent the majority of my life with the same people and the same groups. And even in college, which I loved so much for the fact that it opened me up to so many new people that I wasn't used to, going to the same school my whole life and stuff like that, that I really wanted to get as far away from everything that I knew just so that I could, have some self-discovery and kind of figure out who I am outside of everyone who's raised me and the things I'm familiar with, just to get in touch really with my sense of self and be more confident in myself. And as well as just like have a good time without worrying about preconceived opinions or judgments based off of the things that I've done in my past. Traveling and backpacking has really helped me try out personalities and really figure out who I am without being worried about how I might be judged. Just because, you can always just literally never see anyone again, which is really fun, or you can keep in touch. So not only do you get like amazing lore that you can share with your family and you see great things, but you can really go on a self-discovery journey that I think everyone should go through, in like the same vein that everyone should work a service job because it'll teach you how to interact with people. It's kind of like everyone should try traveling, backpacking alone, just to figure out what you are good at or what you're bad at when you have no one else to rely on but yourself.
Your reason makes me sound so shallow.
No. I mean, I will say no, but part of it was also like Australians are cute. It's winter here in America. I want to go to the summer. Like, there's definitely more, surface reasons to go. But
yeah. I will say everything you just mentioned are benefits that I've gotten out of traveling that like I said, that wasn't my original reason for going, but I've learned. And I've become such a different person, and I feel like I've grown so much because of traveling. So it's such an incredible experience of learning new cultures and eating new yummy foods and meeting so many new people from around the world and having these experiences you can't get in your hometown, like you said, breaking out of that small bubble that you grew up in.
Yeah. So shall we move on to number 2?
We said this would be snappy, and I think we're doing okay making it snappy.
We have to really hold, in season 1, us could never do this. Season 1 could never just say, let's move on. Season 1, we would have taken back roads and the scenic route to get to whatever segment 2 is.
Yes, exactly. Now, this next segment will probably be the big chunk of the episode because it's how to start, where to begin in backpacking. However, we do have a full episode dedicated to this, so it won't take up too much time. Head over to flight number 22 to hear all about planning more in depth.
Yeah, so part of planning is obviously budget, and that's the most important part, is like how much money do you have and how much are you willing to spend. Koke and I consistently on this podcast really throw our budget out the goddamn window because we can't help but we want to make memories, and like experience things. So we live on the more spendy side of budgeting, but obviously you can always be more frugal. I think when you're planning, though, that's important to take into consideration, because where do you want to go? Like places where you want to go, or it's where you're going to spend more money. Like we said consistently, like going to Indonesia, the most expensive part of that was the flight, and then everything there, the price of living was so affordable. Versus when I just went to London, like sure, the round trip flight was a little bit affordable, but London is super expensive. So it's kind of, you need to think about the things that you want to achieve and what you want to do, and then kind of, pick the right place that fits those needs, and then look at your budget.
And one of the reasons, adding into that we really recommend Australia is not just, it's not necessarily as affordable as Indonesia. However, it's very backpacker friendly. Everybody and anybody is going up and down the Australian East Coast. So regardless of where you go, you're going to find a community of people going up this coast. You're going to find friends. You're going to run into people multiple times. So we really recommend Australia, not to say it a million times in this episode, but if you haven't already chosen your place, Australia.
Other than that, I think just book the flight. Honestly, that's the easiest way to hold yourself accountable, is once that flight is booked, you really can't, go around that, and you kind of need to you need to figure out everything else. So it's a great way to hold yourself accountable on figuring out accommodation, figuring out what you're going to do when you get there. And honestly, the 2 hardest part is your flight and where you're going to stay. Other than that, you could fully have a trip of just waking up and walking around town and seeing where it takes you, or being more of a big planner like Koke and I, and being like, let's get your guide. Let's look at the hostel group chats. Let's see if we've had any friends who've been there, and figure out, what our network has done in this place that we're going to. But I would say your flight and your accommodations, probably number 1 flight, number 2 accommodation, 3 everything else. And it also, part of that is where are you going to eat depends on where you're going. Selena, in our episode when we were in New York, talked about in Marrakesh, she planned that all to a T, because that didn't seem like a place where you could just do things spontaneously, especially when you're eating and stuff you don't want to get a stomach bug or something like that. Versus if I had just went to London, it's a pretty established place where I feel like I could walk in anywhere and find food. So once again, location, location, location. Where you're going is going to decide how much planning you actually need to do. Would you agree?
1000%. And I think another thing to consider while starting this journey is, how long are you going to go for? And is it somewhere you need visas? What kind of documents do you need? All of those things are also really high up there, along with the flight, of the information that you need to check, because I will say my first time planning a backpacking trip was kind of in the mix of COVID, towards the end of it, and I wanted to go to Japan, but their borders were still closed. So I didn't go. I had to delay my trip by 6 or 7 months. So check visas, all of your documents, your passport, make sure it's up to date and has at least 6 months before it expires, because when you enter most countries, it has to have a long time before it expires to even enter. It's some interesting rule.
Yeah.
Anyways.
No, all incredible points. But if you have your visa, your passport, your flight booked, and accommodation, you're most likely, that's really it. It's that easy.
Yeah.
Then pick out a good backpack or something. Who knows? But also, we'll leave that up to you.
I will say, we can mention some of my favorite tips and tools and websites and places to go to for booking if you do want to go more in depth are Hostel World for the hostels, booking.com, that can be for different, I think hostels are even on booking.com actually, but hotels, Airbnbs, cars, short stays, flights even, we could do so much on booking.com. Get your guide for things and activities to do once you're at wherever you're going. Airbnb, another, accommodation booking site, and Google Flights is my personal favorite flight finder and tracker for Google Flights.
And I will also add on, I hate to say it, but AI can also be a helpful tool for checking the masses. I have used AI to help me find flights before. And I'm a big second on Hostel World. I love the fact that they put you in a group chat of like the place that you're going to, the hostel and the hostel that you're staying in, from like country to city as well. So there's like massive resources of people to meet, people to hang out with, but also just a network to ask people what to do before you even arrive. Because you'll be thrown into that group chat like a week, 2 weeks before you even are boots on ground.
One more thing I'll add to wrap up this segment of how to start is my personal plan and strategy of researching is social media. TikTok has been my best friend while traveling. I just search, let's just say Australian East Coast, because this is where we're recommending Australian East Coast things to do, or Australian East Coast route. Find my route, find the major cities you want to go to. That's the first step. And then the second step within that is finding the specific activities and how long do you need to be in each city or town to do that activity. Like going to Fraser Island, going to the Whitsundays, that's a multiple day thing. So you need to plan multiple days. You can't just do a day in that city because it's not a city. That's an island. You got to go from a boat, from a town on a boat to an island to another boat. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
But social media has been my favorite.
Great point. I just remembered because you mentioned Australia. Australia and New Zealand also has something called Book Me, which is an app that acts just like Get Your Guide, but it's way more local. And I think it's more like family-esque, less big corporation like Get Your Guide. But I don't know the specifics about that. But Book Me is also another option for when you're in Australia or New Zealand.
Yeah. There are also, if you don't want to plan ahead of time, so many travel agencies in the big cities, even in the small cities, in Sydney, in Cairns, in Melbourne, Byron Bay, Brisbane. There are so many travel agency desks that you can just walk up to and be like, plan my entire itinerary.
Yeah, honestly.
That's what Joe did for work in Australia.
Yeah, literally.
He was that travel agent that would book your entire trip.
I think we've mentioned all that we need to mention too about planning. And now we'll move on to our next segment.
All about packing. And again, we have an episode for that. Head over to Flight 21 to hear our top 10 travel essentials while packing.
Yeah. So packing is arguably the second most important thing. And I'm a big fan of pack less. Also because I love to shop. And usually when I'm backpacking, I find clothes that I end up wanting to buy. And then I have no space. Yeah. Especially in some places that are like known for thrifting. Like I know Japan is a big spot people love to thrift at. Like, in that scenario, just pack less and find your outfits when you get there. It's so much more fun. But other than that, obviously the essentials are probably like the comfiest pair of shoes that you can walk ages in.
Yes. Which I'm sure I mentioned it somewhere multiple times throughout season 1. Packed Doc Martens slides in Australia. And my feet were torn apart because I did not break those in before the trip.
Yeah, we talk about that in season 1, your bloody feet that you spent so long in.
I did. I'd walk like over 20,000 steps around Sydney in those. I managed, however, it wasn't fun.
If we ever end up doing another walking trip, we won't be wearing dock slides.
No.
Ugly sneakers, it just happens.
But they're cute sneakers too.
Or cute sneakers, yeah. Just remember that your cute sneakers might be ugly by the end of the trip.
Yes, most definitely. And as much as I am also in the mindset of pack less, I still fail to do that every single trip. And there have been multiple trips where I will literally send a package home of my clothes. Or I just donate my clothes wherever I am.
Yeah.
Because the clothes in wherever I'm going just always are so much cuter than whatever I packed.
So true. Packing like basics, things that, especially if you're backpacking and not doing something super fancy like a resort, just having plain t-shirts and plain shorts and pants where you can mix and match so that you have as many outfits as possible is also the best route to go.
I will also say there are some non-negotiables while backpacking in terms of packing, like locks. If you're staying in hostels, most of the time they will provide lockers, but not the locks. So bring your own lock. Lock your stuff up. It's for safety. A microfiber towel is another really, really big one. But again, we're going through most of these, if not all of them, in Flight 21. So head over there. Shower shoes is another one. In public bathrooms, you don't want to be raw dogging it. But then again, to each their own. A universal plug is a really, really important thing, especially going to another country. There's a very slim chance they're going to have the same types of outlets that you have wherever you're going from. A travel credit card is a very big thing. Get it if you can. If you can't, no worries. However, there are no fees with a travel credit card. You don't have to pay more. You know how much you're paying every single time. And you get a lot of points to then use on future travel. It's great. And lastly, your passport. We mentioned it earlier. Like, obviously bring your passport. How are you going to get to another country without it? You're not.
Yeah, honestly, we won't even check in. Yeah, those are all great. And I guess with a travel credit card, I haven't been anywhere yet that's been like cash only, honestly, which is crazy. We live in such a time where credit card can really get you very far. And when you're exchanging money, like those fees, the currency fees for the exchange can be so high at an ATM or a money exchange place that you're kind of like saving money by using a credit card.
Yeah, you really are. And I haven't mentioned it this season yet, but I exchanged money when I was in Namibia. And I didn't know this, but Namibian dollar, you cannot exchange in any other place besides Namibia. And we didn't exchange it in Namibia when we left Namibia. So when we got to South Africa and we're like, hey, can we now get South African dollars? They're like, no. So now we have a lot of Namibian dollars just hanging out. So unless we're going back to Namibia, so
yeah,
useless.
You have to go back now.
Yeah.
Wow.
I actually was at the animal sanctuary that I volunteered at, said no cash allowed. It was credit card only. So the times are changing.
What a time.
One last thing, I guess, probably the biggest thing when packing is a backpack and finding the right backpack for your trip. How long are you going for? How big does it need to be? What's your preference on backpack style as well? Like personally, I don't like having to dig all the way to the bottom and take everything out. So I like the backpack that opens like a suitcase. So that's very important for me. It's also super important to have detachable pieces to it to make it bigger or smaller, depending on the trip, depending on the day as well, because it could change day to day on your trip, what you need, what you don't need.
That and your physical size also depends on what backpack you get. So there's backpacks come in like medium large, medium small, small, extra small. There are women's backpacks and there are men's backpacks. You can go to REI and have them measure your back if you want to know which size. I believe you measure it from like the bone at your neck, the top of your back, to your tailbone, and that should say what size backpack you need, because that makes a really big difference on if your backpack will fit you. If your backpack doesn't fit you, you're going to have a terrible time walking in it. Getting a backpack that actually fits your body makes a massive difference.
Yeah.
Because you want that weight distribution to be on your hips, not on your shoulders and your neck.
However, you also don't need a backpack to go backpacking. We've talked about this in episodes. However, there are some scenarios where it makes so much more sense to get a backpack, but it's possible to do it with a suitcase. So that's a personal preference. Get a backpack.
Yeah, we are both backpack girls, but we also know people who are suitcasers.
Yes. I mean, I've done it. I did it in Bali.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So I've done both.
Moving on.
Moving on. This next part of the episode will be about life while traveling and what to expect. Once again, we have an episode fully dedicated for this, Flight 14.
And I love Flight 14. That's an underrated episode. We really get into the cultural aspects of backpacking and how to be a respectful backpacker and a respectful tourist, which is one of the most, if not the most important thing when you are boots on ground, is understanding and recognizing the culture that you're walking into and being respectful of it. And then what to expect when you get there, other than that, I need to think about that one. I don't know, my mind.
I think it kind of depends on how much research you did beforehand. So if you're super big planners like Louise and I, you should kind of know what you're getting yourself into prior. However, if you're not, the basics, the bare minimum of what to expect goes back to being respectful. Expect it to be nothing like where you're coming from. Expect it to be completely different.
Well, culture shock is completely normal.
Yeah.
But obviously, like, be respectful of the things that you say in public, because you are walking into, even though it's a vacation to you, it's a life for somebody else. So it's important to recognize those differences and honor them and be respectful. But also, like, I've never run into a mean local. Everyone has always been really nice and very open about sharing their lifestyle and traditions. So if you ever have any questions, like, it never hurts just to ask someone, honestly, find your answer. But also that's why the internet exists. I would expect boots on ground to have an amazing time, especially if you're staying in a hostel. Yeah.
It also kind of relates to your budget and what type of trip you've planned or not planned for yourself. You can be cooking in hostels, or you can be eating out every single meal, or skipping meals, like some people do. Expect to also be taking a lot of public transportation. Millions of people do it every single day in every single city, so there's no reason for you to not be able to figure it out. It's most likely a lot easier than it looks and it originally seems. Expect to meet so many amazing people and have the best time ever.
Yeah. Moving on.
This last bit before we wrap up the episode is going to be about the hard stuff, the stuff that nobody really talks about while traveling, especially on social media. It's kind of a highlight reel. You don't see the mental health problems, the homesickness, the FOMO, all of these things that are real and that people struggle with every single day while traveling and while not traveling. However, again, we do have a full episode dedicated to this topic, which is flight number 19.
Yeah, mental and physical health. It also depends on what type of trip that you're doing. If you are resorting it, obviously you don't need to work out and prepare your body for that. But as backpackers, especially when you're carrying your own weight on your back, it's going to be a physical transformation, which is almost kind of exciting, where in the beginning you're wearing your backpack and you're like huffing and puffing, but then by the end of your trip you can scale a few flights, no worries. It's kind of awesome. But I mean, the physicality change of that is pretty logical. The one that really surprised me was like the mental aspect of it, especially if you're doing it alone.
Yes.
It can get really hard and you can feel like you're missing out on things. Like I missed 2 Christmases in a row and stuff like that, which is hard when your family is getting older and stuff like that, to, you know, rationalize doing something so selfish like solo travel. But I do think that the people that you love would always want you to push your boundaries and explore and see the world if you have the opportunity. I was lucky to have a lot of support from my family, so I didn't feel too bad about missing those important holidays. But beyond that, like the mental battles of, you know, like you said, FOMO and stuff like that, and like seeing your friends or your peers achieve things in life, and you're like, why am I messing around in this new country? It can get a little bit difficult. But I think overall it's so worth it, because I always look at it in I'm investing in myself and investing in my character, and that's going to make me like a better friend to other people, a better family member, if I'm more well-rounded and grounded in myself, which is like things that I picked up when I was alone and alone with my thoughts.
Yes. Yeah.
And I was confronted with all of this. Yeah.
I was just going to say, it kind of goes back to your reason of why you're backpacking in the end, of that personal growth and how much you learn about yourself and these situations that you would never encounter in your home life, that you're now being thrown into in a foreign country, and you're learning how to deal with the unexpected when you're completely alone. Or you might not be alone. You could be with new friends. You could be with friends from home. It could be a group travel trip. However, so much comes out, so much growth comes out of traveling. And yeah, like you said, it's so worth it. It really is such a personal development and resource you're kind of putting into.
It also is a great way to test any relationship, you know, when you're in a high stress pressure point, like backpacking. If something goes wrong, it really teaches you something about your friends or your partner on how they handle crisis, or even how you handle crisis.
Yes.
Hopefully nothing that bad happens.
Yeah.
But, you know, you cannot predict what will happen. And so it's great to put those problem-solving skills to test. It makes you a better employee and a better worker in the end when you get back home to your job, probably. Also, it's a great way to learn empathy skills as well, just because seeing the way others live helps you reflect on the way that you live and how you potentially interact with the things around you. I don't know. I just don't really see any negatives, like even in the hard times.
Yeah.
I always, you know, you're like a phoenix. You rise from the ashes.
That's such a good way to put it. Because yes, there are hard times. However, the positives so outweigh the negatives. However, one big thing I will say, get travel insurance. Get health and travel insurance, because you never know. It quite literally saved my life. It saved me tens of thousands of dollars as well. So get travel insurance. You never know what is going to happen when you're abroad.
And I don't think you're really allowed to travel without travel insurance. Yeah. In some places, you're required to have it. Obviously, they don't check.
Yeah.
But just be on the safe side. It's not too expensive, and it can save you thousands.
Yes.
But like we've said this entire episode, we go into so much detail. You found the right podcast if you want to get into backpacking or traveling in general, whether it's, you know, to a new city an hour away from your house or a whole new country. That's what this podcast is here for. And that's what a lot of our past episodes have been about. But I think we've kind of said our piece. Have you?
I agree. We have said our piece. We like to call ourselves your travel advisor girlfriends because we're here for you. We want to help you book the best backpacking travel trip of your life. And this is just the beginning for you. This is Backpacking 101, the ultimate guide, the basics, whatever you want to call it.
The summary.
The summary, yeah.
Which I feel like we can wrap up. I'm gonna fire bullet point list. Location, where are you gonna go? Planning, how are you going to get there? Do you have everything you need to survive as a human there? 3, where are you staying when you get there? 4, how are you getting to where are you staying? Transportation. 5, who am I gonna meet? Who am I gonna kiss at the end of the day? And then run away and never see again. I'm just kidding. But how do I want to interact with the people and the place around me? And
what are they bringing? Like packing?
Visa, passport, insurance.
Wait, say that. Don't say, like, sorry. Is that like mumbled
Visa,
it?
passport, insurance. Visa, passport, insurance. Backpack? No backpack? When are you going home? Are you ever going home? Am I going with anyone? I think you should probably go alone, personally. And
at least
I
for your
think
first
that's
trip.
it. I think that's everything that we said. Really put together and clearly well thought out and very coherent of me. But I believe I just nailed it.
You did.
Travel advisor, girlfriend, here to help.
We are. But for now, that's the episode. And if you want to recap on all the episodes that we listed in the specifics, that's going to be in the bio. Head there. Should we put it in the bio?
I will put it in the bio. That, and also reach out to us on Instagram or TikTok. We're on a lot of social media platforms at GWIA Podcast. If you want have specific questions and want specific answers or need more in depth or need guidance throughout our so many list of episodes on where you should go, you can reach out to us there. It's not like as your travel advisor girlfriends, we need to talk, you know? Like, we're here to talk to you, so reach out.
Use us.
Use us.
Yeah. We're here for a reason.
We won't scam you.
No, we won't. We're not a real travel agency yet, okay?
Yeah.
We care about you guys.
We actually care.
So we will see you so soon. But for now, don't forget to follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the places at GWIA Podcast.
Exactly. That's the best place to keep up with us and when we will be back.
Yes. Love you. Bye.
All right. Okay. Love you. Bye.
Thanks for listening.